Hello, my name is Caitlin Barber, and the war conflict that I'm focusing on is the war in Afghanistan. Before we look at this war, let's look at a timeline of the war itself. In 1999, the United Nations Resolution 1267 was adopted. This created sanctions on Al-Qaeda and Taliban, which would affect terrorist entities. On September 11, 2001, there were attacks. The Al-Qaeda operatives hijacked 4 planes and they destroyed the World Trade Center, Pentagon, and one crashed in Pennsylvania. The death toll was 3,000 people. On September 18, 2001, a joint resolution by President Bush was authorized. This authorized forces against those responsible for the 9/11 attacks. This imposed legal rationale for attacking. On October 7, 2001, the U.S. airstriked on Al-Qaeda. In November of 2002, provincial reconstruction teams were handled by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. In August of 2003, the NATO forces took over security. In October of 2004, Hamid Karzai was the new democratic president for Afghanistan. On May 1, 2011, the Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden was killed by United States Navy SEAL teams. In 2017, the United States declared a war stalemate, which meant any position or situation in which no action can be taken or progress made. In other words, a deadlock. In 2018, Taliban launched major assaults in the capital of Kabul. Even before the attacks of 9/11, the United Nations Security Council in 1999 adopted Resolution 1267, which created the so-called Al-Qaeda and Taliban Sanction Committee. This would impose sanctions on terrorists. As we have learned, the United Nations is an international body. Realists would have you believe in anarchy, and they have no power, but they did impose sanctions. Resolution 1373 was also passed, essentially calling on all states to fight terrorism. The attack of 9/11 led to an insurrection in Afghanistan in pursuit of terrorists. In response to 9/11, the U.S. sent troops claiming self-defense and a response to an attack. It is the longest American war in its history. What type of war is this? The war in Afghanistan is a limited war. The definition of a limited war is that it is engaged to prevent behavior or stop the actor from doing what they are doing. In this case, the actor is Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and other terrorist groups. The behavior is terrorist attacks. This conflict brings up the question of who we are fighting. It is states, the U.S. and Afghanistan, against a non-state, terrorists, who are not confined to one state or country. There is no central place to battle terrorists. The U.S. decided to strike in Afghanistan, a Taliban Al-Qaeda stronghold. Why did this war happen? If we look at just cause, the U.S. claims it is defending itself against terrorists who harm our citizens and to prevent future attacks against them. Other elements of just cause are met. It is waged by a legitimate authority. It is being fought to reestablish just peace, and the violence used is proportionate to the military objectives. Why is it not a just war? It wasn't last resort. No meetings were held with the terrorists, and no diplomatic solution was ever considered. We also don't know the probability of successes fighting all of the groups and essentially not knowing where they are. The war does not meet all of the standards of just cause. There are some gray areas also. The war is controversial for several reasons. It is controversial because of its actors. On one side, we have the United States, NATO, and international states. And on the other side, terrorist organizations, well, not states. Another controversy arises because of modern warfare and technology. This includes the use of drone warfare, which we discussed in the last module, and international law. The Taliban and Al-Qaeda violate the norms of the international system. Let's look at why this war is being fought. I said it was the U.S. defending itself, but on the domestic level of analysis, we could claim democratic peace by promoting democracy in Afghanistan and ridding the world of the undemocratic terrorist elements. We are looking for a long-term change and to eradicate terrorism. There are 8 main reasons or causes for war. 1. Economic gain. 2. Territorial gain. 3. Religion or ideological. 4. Nationalism. 5. Revenge. 6. Civil war. 7. The Revolutionary War. And 8. Defensive war. The war in Afghanistan is revenge we are seeking to punish a grievance or strike back. There is also nationalism involved, and on the Taliban al-Qaeda side, religion or an ideological influence. The revenge is a war on terrorism, striking back on terrorist attacks. Another aspect of this conflict is the theme of conventional versus unconventional warfare. The Taliban engages in unconventional warfare, including suicide bombers, beheadings, and executions. They attack civilians. The United States is using drones to target leaders and has specific targets. The terrorists are not fighting a just war. They are attacking civilians. For them, it is a conflict of ideas. The final question that I'm going to end with is, what is the future of the war in Afghanistan? Are the goals obtainable? Can we ever get rid of terrorism? Will the war ever truly end? As one esteemed scholar said, we could have avoided or got out of the war. It's not as significant as the Nazis or Russia. We're not going to be overrun by terrorists taking over the United States. I'm going to finish my presentation with a quote from Jared Keller. Between 2001 and 2017, U.S. government efforts to stabilize insecure and contested areas in Afghanistan mostly failed. This is my presentation for Professor French's class. I hope you all enjoyed it.